Can't go through trauma without it showing up in your life. The truth always works, even if the other person doesn't listen. I agree with that at my soul. Good evening, everybody. You know it's my favorite day of the week. It's Friday. Yes, yes, yes. I love a good Friday. There's nothing like a good Friday. Except for Good Friday. You know, if you're religious, you know what the hell I mean. But anyway, today it's Friday, and every Friday, you know, we do an installation of the Love series that we enjoy on this program, and you enjoy it. I get to hear you tell me how much you love the Love series. I appreciate all of your support as we have spent this entire pandemic every Friday walking through love. Normally, when I have the Love series, as you know, I have couples on. I've had every kind of couple you could think of. I've had straight couples, gay couples, two guys, two girls. We had a polyamorous couple. Remember them? We had a couple that's been married for a month. Another couple been married, the Bryants, Dr. Cecilia, Bishop John, married 51 years. We had couples who were therapists, couples who were divorced. If you were a couple, a kind of couple, I done had you on here. Normally I have couples, but tonight we're going to do it a little differently. I don't have a couple on. I have someone who knows how to help couples on. So guess what you get to get? Free counseling, free advice, free insight. So I want you to snuggle up next to each other or the pillow or the dog, whatever you got, snuggle up next to it. And because the Love McPherson is on the program tonight, and she is absolutely delightful and amazing and brilliant. And she's going to give us some advice tonight to help our relationships grow, help them flourish, and maybe just a few of them help them go in a different direction. We're going to all together, we're going to get better at loving somebody tonight. We're going to do it. We're going to learn together. Me and you, us. And Love McPherson is going to walk us through it. I'm not going to do headlines tonight because I want to give her all the time that she needs rather, to really work with us and help us. I am going to say this though. On Monday, tune in, make sure you tune in Monday because I'm going to give advice for everybody in case Donald Trump wins or loses the election. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to mess up the love vibe. But on Monday, I'm going to give everybody advice for what you should do if Biden wins and Trump loses or the reverse. And let's trust me, we're going to need some advice. I got some good advice for you. We'll do that on Monday. Make sure you tune in. So with no further ado, let's get our Love series going. Welcome to the show tonight, the one and only Love McPherson.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
How are you doing?
I am doing well. Like you said, favorite day of the week, right? Friday. After this, it's over.
If you don't love a Friday, there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying.
And let me just say this. I am a couple. For 37 years, I've been married to one man consecutively. Okay, so that qualifies for something. He may not be sitting right next to me, but he's always taking really good care of me. So that's a blessing.
Aww. See, now we really want to listen to you. That was just so nice. You have such a great smile, such a great energy, such a great spirit about you already. I can sense that. This. In light of what you just said, I'm wondering if I should ask you this question. I'm gonna ask it anyway. So, Love McPherson, how are you feeling about your life lately?
I am loving my life. I really am loving my life. I am doing things that you know what? I absolutely was born for this. I mean, I've been called Love every day of my life because that's my name. And so if I am teaching people how to love better, life can't be better for me.
Yes, I asked you before we came on the air, was that really your name, right? Like Love?
Absolutely.
How prophetic the namers of you were. So Love is your real name.
Love is my real name. My mother named me Love because of her love for my dad. So she named, my mother's name was Mary. She named all of her girls with M. There were 3 girls, Miriam, Mylan, Melanie. And I was named Mylan. And the middle name, she named Love. back then the fathers kiss you and leave you and come back to see what you had. When he came back to see what she had, he says, "What, you had a girl?" He said, "What did you name her?" And she told her my name, and she says, "I put the love in there for you." And because even though I was the sixth of 8 children, he had always been so supportive. They had a 60-year marriage, so they really had really good love in their life, and that's their story. And so, yeah. That's what it is.
No, it's a great story. 'Cause trust me, there are a lot of people out there having babies who ain't naming the baby after the love they have for each other.
Especially not after the 6th one, right?
I'm just saying. So yeah, I mean that's a great testament and testimony
It is
to their relationship. And it's always good. You tell me you respond to this however you want, but I think it's always good to come from parents who actually loved each other. That's a great thing.
It really is. You know what? It gives you a different perspective. And so that's very important that you actually have a knowledge. And this is why I'll just, because you brought this up. A lot of times we associate love and then we associate relationships and we mix them and we say, oh, the quality of the relationship will identify how much you love me. But that's not always true. Love is the commitment that you make. Relationships is the skill. So if the better, and we learn our skills from our parents, our core relationships, or our grandparents or whoever raised us, how they have relationships with each other, how they have relationship with us. So if we have no visual picture of healthy relationship, we will take those dysfunctional skills into a relationship, both houses sometimes, and we will practice our unhealthy relationship skills, our unhealthy coping skills, be triggered by each other. And a lot of times the problem is we go for familiarity. We think that's chemistry, but it's really familiarity. You know that type of relationship. So you gravitate towards it and all you do is come back. And so to have a visual picture of what looked healthy is a definite advantage, but skills can be learned.
You know, you said something. First of all of that was excellent, by the way. So let me just say that. But you said something I think is so powerful, and it needs to be repeated and reiterated, if you will. That being, you can have a lot of love in your heart, but be terrible at relationships.
Horrible. Don't you hear a lot of people go all the way to the divorce court, and you know what they say? I love them, but I can't live with them. You know why? Because you don't have the skills to live with them. You never acquired the skills. Communication is a skill. Conflict resolution is a skill. Listening is a skill. You can learn those skills on how to relate. And the better you know how to relate to that person and consider their traumas and their childhood, the better you will be at living together.
Yes, love. That's what I'm talking about. I hope everybody heard that. You know, now listen. I fundamentally believe that we have to be taught how to be in a relationship. That's why I do this segment every Friday. We do it every Friday because I don't think you just don't learn how to love somebody through osmosis, or you don't pick
really
it up watching TV. You need somebody giving you constant wisdom and advice and helping you see what you can't see. That's why we do this every Friday, love.
Yes, you know what? It's so crucial. And when you find out that your skills are deficient, you do like any other thing that you have committed to for life or that is special to you, whether it's your job, whether it's raising kids, you go learn better. You don't just sit in your dysfunction and say, take me as I am. This is who I am. This is who you are in your lack of wisdom and understanding, but your skill sets could be better.
Yes. No, I think you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. And I hope that everybody having heard that, everybody listening to that will invite the ability to increase their skill sets into their lives immediately. Do whatever you can. Watch a video, read a book.
Yes.
Watch my show.
Yes.
Whatever you got to do. So, love, let me ask you this. Because I have a bunch of therapists on and all of that. And great people, great professions. And when I deal with people who are experts in relationship, I wonder, how did you become an expert on how does somebody become an expert on relationships? How does that happen?
I guess it's basically the same way you become an expert in a doctor or whatever other field. You have to study. And so that's what I did, became certified in what I needed to be certified in. I studied, I have experience. And I think that the experience kind of helps a lot. It's kind of like going to that older doctor who kind of seen more, or you know how they said the doctors, you're from Chicago, the doctors in the county hospital were some of the best doctors because they had seen everything. Yeah. And so sometimes people are telling you advice that they may not have walked through, but it's important. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that sometimes when you have seen more, you can give more.
Yes. If I go to a doctor and I have cancer, I don't want this to be the first time he's ever seen it.
Yes. You want one of them county hospital doctors who had seen it all.
Okay, maybe not the county, maybe Northwestern.
Okay. But I'm telling you, didn't you ever hear that the county hospital doctors were the best?
Yeah, no, they've seen everything. I'm still going to Northwestern. I'm in Chicago.
I didn't say go to the county.
Chicago. That's where I'm going. My alma mater. That's where I'm going. So listen, tell me when should a couple get advice? Because a lot of people think you only get advice when you're in trouble, right? He starts acting up, she starts cutting up your clothes. So that's when you get advice. But when should a couple talk to somebody like you?
You know what? I absolutely adore that question. You know how on social media they say, I wish I could like that 1,000 times. The question you just asked, I love that question. I'm going to tell you why. Because you said, when should they seek advice? Not after you say, I will, okay? Because I do. I do is, will you promise to love, honor, obey? That's the marriage. Engagement is, will you marry me? I will. Before you say I will, decide if you really will. Before you put the ring on it, you should be looking, and I do have couples who come in, because once you put that ring on it and you go social media, once you do that and you go social media, everybody, it becomes it's a whirlwind, and it's hard to get back out if you start changing your mind. Look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and sit down with somebody like me while you are dating and you're looking at going serious, and then keep moving forward. Make an educated decision. Yes.
As soon as you get to I might.
Yes.
That's what you call love McPherson, right? Absolutely. There. Yes. And it's such great advice you just gave, because I think it changes the paradigm. That therapy and counseling and life and couples coaching, that's not for when you're in trouble. That's for when it's getting serious. When it's starting to get serious, that's when you need to start talking so that you can wait for it, build up your skill set. That's what you told us before. Absolutely. So you come in to talk to you and we realize we're good at this, but we're not good at that. And love is going to help us raise it up.
Yeah. And then you know what else you'll discover? You'll discover patterns of behavior that may have been traumatizing to you. Maybe the fact that you haven't proposed and been in this relationship for 8 years is because you had trauma related to your parents' relationship. And you have not been healed of that. So you have not disassociated marriage with trauma. Or you've had somebody trauma related to a serious betrayal of a past relationship. Somebody may have cheated on you or ghosted you or something like that. And therefore you're afraid to go all in, to give 100%. Like, I'll put my feet in the water for a little while, but until I see that, and you have them jumping through hoops. So, and then you also might discover one more thing is, if dad or mom was not there for you, a lot of times you will find that you want people to fight for you. And so you will actually create an obstacle course for your mate that they don't understand. And instead of having a smooth sailing, you'll create obstacle courses and then look for them not to step up and fight for you, when there didn't have to be a fight in the first place.
That's good, love. That's good. There are a lot of people right now drinking some wine, thinking to themselves, she talking about me. You helping you getting somebody's soul together tonight, love. Because I know people who do exactly that. They don't do it to me, but I know people who do exactly that. They yes, that's good. Wow. Yeah, listen, everybody, you got to do what Love is suggesting. If you're seriously thinking about marrying or being monogamous and committed to someone in a serious long-term relationship, don't wait till you got a ring to see somebody who can help you understand what you're doing. Listen, we're going to take a quick break because, we got to pay the bills and we got to process all the good stuff you just gave us because, that's a lot. Because there's somebody sitting next to you right now who you want this next minute to talk to about some of this. Now, make sure y'all come back in one piece. All right. You ready? You get ready to talk to him. Even if it's the dog, get ready. All right. Go. We'll be right back.
Why aren't you voting?
When you vote, you can do something about everything. At voteforyourlife.com, it's never been faster or easier to make a plan to vote.
Time is running out, but you still have the chance to use your power.
Check your registration and make sure your address on file is correct.
Find your state's deadlines, learn about local candidates, and request a ballot.
You'll be able to see where candidates stand on issues you care about.
Order a ballot request form to be mailed to you with prepaid postage,
allowing you to vote early, easily, and safely.
Make a plan to vote early by finding your nearest ballot drop box, in-person polling place, or local mailbox.
And this is where you rise, this is where you shine, this is where you become the greatest of all time. History in the making.
Vote for your life.
Bring it. Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home.
Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure. Yeah. All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry. I'll see you later.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking to Love McPherson on the Love Series. She is a relationship expert and a therapist and someone who has already given us much to think about. But Love, when we were on break, you said you wanted to make sure you included a group of people in the conversation. Go right ahead.
We talked about the people who are in a relationship and they are about to go to the next level, but there are a whole wide variety of both men and women who have been so injured in relationships until they're afraid to go into a committed relationship. They only want to skate around the surface, they don't want to go in deep, because actually what happens is a betrayal or a breakup, actually, it feels like hot coffee being poured on you. That's what it speaks to your brain. So physically, you feel a heartbreak. They still have the trauma of the heartbreak, and they're afraid to go back in.
Yes,
I know a lot of people and process that.
I know a lot of people who are afraid to be alone and afraid to be in relationships. It's like you got to choose.
Absolutely,
one. You got to choose one. but listen, tell me if do you think are soulmates real? Is there such a thing as a soulmate?
You know what? There can be a soulmate. However, how do you define soulmate? A soul is the center of your wheel. Okay. So if this is the mate that you have made a decision and a choice to love, yes. If you think that they're nice enough and easy enough and you can do lazy love on them because they're so good, then that's not what soulmate is. And that's a lot of times what people think. You're good enough, you're easy to love, so the better you are, I can love you. No, love is a choice. And it'll love you through the good, bad, and the ugly. What you have to decide as a single is, before you get involved too deep, Can my love cover that? If it can't, govern yourself accordingly and walk away. But as far as soulmates are concerned, it's an act of your will and an act of your choice to love a person. Not that
I love
just
I love the idea of lazy love, right? Say
Mhm.
more about that, because I think a lot of people suffer from that syndrome.
Let me tell you something. Lazy love shows up in a lot of different areas. This is what happens. Lazy love will actually show up with your children, because after, when you have a relationship and you get married, okay, say you got married, you had a child, that child is easy to love. That baby, because they love you, they depend on you, they give you significance, they give you all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying it's always easy to raise them. I'm saying that's easy love.
Easy
So
love,
what you
yeah.
will see is a spouse leave the love that's difficult, which is the married love, because that takes work, and they will gravitate towards the child and find their love needs, their emotional needs in the child, and abandon the other relationships, even if they're still married. And so we will find easy love, or we will try to find people, or we will dispose of people where you like, they did this, their shoes, they wear square-toed shoes. Just making excuses not to love people, thinking people are supposed to be perfect. Nobody's perfect, including we all working on something. So you're going to have to make some choices. Now, there's some choices that you say, I can't love that. I'm not going to be with a serial cheater. Okay, fine. Well, don't go in with a serial cheater. If it's somebody who is abusive, I don't want no man hitting on me. Well, the first sign you see it, you got to walk away. You have to have the courage to walk away.
Yeah.
And so, but don't keep moving forward if you know that you have a resolve in value systems that you cannot deal with.
Yes. You've really given people something tonight. And what I hear you offering to all of us is an opportunity to resist the urge to forsake the decision, or to forsake the understanding that love is a choice.
Yes.
And not a feeling, that you're
Absolutely.
choosing to love someone through their whatever it is that they bring. And that's what makes it love. That's what makes it not a strong case of like. Because when lust and like have walked away, love is the only thing that'll sit there and say, I'm still going to be here when your crazy butt gets back. And you got to
Absolutely.
love somebody to do that. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. This is really important. Science shows you that a lot of times we think if marriage, or that feeling of euphoria that we have and we experience in a relationship, that's going to sustain us. They make me feel really, really good. Oh, they just make me feel. Well, guess what? This is what happens. The marriage, the happiness in a marriage actually looks a lot like the coronavirus like scale. It takes you up a little bit after you get married, and then it brings you back down within about 2 years. You're at the same level as you were when you're single. Now what's going to sustain you? That's happiness. That's the science of happiness in marriage. Now at that 2-year mark, and sometimes it happens sooner, but at that 2-year mark, what is going to sustain you for this marathon marriage?
What's the answer? What's the answer to that?
The answer is this. You don't align yourself with a feeling. You align yourself with character. You do the same thing that you do in business. You think long term. You don't to create a business for today. You have to have vision, a successful one that's thinking 10 years from now. And so what you do, you're creating legacy. You got to understand the purpose of this marriage thing. It's not just to satisfy your loneliness. It's not just to soothe you. On purpose, you are creating generations, which means you need to heal, because 50% of the children that you birth, their DNA will have epigenetics that will be from your own trauma. So you've got to begin to heal your traumas so that you can birth healthy DNA and strong DNA. The other 40% I'm talking about the happiness scale, 40% of their happiness will depend on the traumas they experience in your home. If you are fighting and cussing and doing all kind of stuff, they take that back out. 10%, only 10% of your happiness will be external. And so what I'm saying to you is, you have to stop and say, what am I trying to accomplish for the world? What am I trying to birth upon the earth and leave for generations? That has to be thought of as you're dating, as you make commitments, not just after you walk the aisle and say, I do.
Yeah, no, I think you have You have located it. You have put your finger on the sore spot in a very profound way. I hope everybody is listening to this, man, because this is great. This is sage advice. It is sage advice. Listen to what she just said. You 2 years after you're with somebody, particularly if you're married to them, you go right back to the feelings you had when you were single. But the difference is you're still waking up next to the joker. There's somebody else there. And you're trying to figure out, why do I feel this way? Well, you feel this way because, as what Love McPherson just told us, because we're not focusing in on the decision to love them anyway, in spite of how we feel. And we didn't choose someone who was built for the long-term journey. We chose someone who made us feel good in the moment.
Let me just tell you one practical way that shows up.
I got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Sex. Because by the time you feel back like you were single, you may not feel like you want to have sex with someone, but you understand the needs of a man, testosterone and things like that. And so there will be a sacrifice of love. Love is in the sacrifice. There will also be a consideration of the woman and her needs emotionally for intimacy. So the love in you, the commitment in you will make sure she has the intimacy she needs for the sex that you need. So you work together with a committed, because ultimately you want the happiness.
I'm all for that. Let's take a break. Everybody take notes of what she just said. Let me get my pen out. We'll be back.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad. When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Gangs and narcotics, robbery, homicide. Like it's the end of days.
People are in danger. We're gonna do this thing together.
No more games. This ends now. Let's go. You know, you could get yourself killed. You do what you gotta do.
You blew up the port of LA.
It's one boat in the van.
LA's Finest, Mondays on Fox, or anytime on demand or Fox Now.
I just told Love McPherson that she's giving the kind of advice that I would give if I was a guest on my own show. That's how good the advice is. That's something I would say. Anyway, listen. So you mentioned this before, because I really, first, Love, let me say, it feels weird calling you Love, by the way. Like, Love, should I be calling her Love? She's another man's wife. Dr. McPherson, can I call you that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I just don't. I feel like I'm crossing boundaries, and your husband's gonna rush in and sock me in the eye.
He really won't.
I don't need all that, Dr. McPherson. You first, you're really just empowering people tonight to really do some wonderful things. So let's do some hard lifting now. Let's do some hard lifting, because I know you can handle it. How does a relationship survive infidelity? How does it survive when someone has cheated or been betrayed?
Okay. So what happens is this: relationships are absolutely recoverable after cheating, but a lot of times what happens is it takes about 2 years to recover fully. And this is why when a person betrays you, in infidelity, the first thing that you have to realize is that betrayal means this: I chose me instead of you. That places a price tag on you. You're not worth the sacrifice. I am worth the sacrifice. And so here's what ends up happening. The person who has been betrayed on, you think the first thing that happens is they are struggling with, I can't trust you. No, you know what their first struggle is? I can't trust me. I can't trust me to even discern when you're sitting up here and looking me in the eye. I don't even have the ability. I'm sucker punched by you.
I don't even know when you're lying.
Right. I don't even know what my life is. I don't know if this is a real relationship, if it ever was. So they began to doubt all the things about themselves. So now what has to happen is this. The first thing you have to do is help them learn to trust themselves. And this is what you have to do.
Okay, Dr. McPherson, stop. Keep that thought. Don't lose that thought, all right? But I have never heard anybody say that before. I have never heard anybody say that if I cheated on you, the first thing I have to do is to help you learn how to trust yourself again.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's so good. Powerful.
Yes.
Powerful. Keep going.
Which means this. You have to say whatever you need to believe that I love you and I'm dedicated to this relationship, I'm going to give it to you. Full disclosure is the first thing. What do you need? Passwords? Do you need phone records? I'm going to be accountable to you to the point where at any point I can just go in an email, or I can look at your phone, or I can call you on FaceTime and see what you're doing. I know, and people say, well, you shouldn't have to do all of that. Let me tell you something. Just like when you do wrong as a citizen and you lose the right to privacy, and the jail cells don't have doors, most of them, you lose the right when you violate trust. You forfeit your right for trust. You never forfeit your right for love. Love is owed to you. Trust is earned. So now as you earn it back, the first thing you do is full disclosure. That way, every time that person is trying to, they're like, okay, I looked at this, I looked at that. And the more that they can see it's on point, this person is doing, this is accountable, they'll start believing maybe they are. I know it's a huge sacrifice. Maybe they do love me, because we don't know if people love us. We can't open up their chest and see if they love us. So now they do that. The second thing is what you want to do is the accountability, all of that, and the patience. Here's a huge thing. This will determine how long your partner heals. This is what you have to do. A lot of times, when you really do love somebody and you messed up, it actually hurts you that you hurt them. Mm-hmm. The person who actually hurt them, if they have a heart, that it hurts them that they hurt you. So when you talk about it, like you hurt me, or you see tears, they don't want to hear it because it hurts them. So they will shut you down. Like, I said, I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do. We got to stop talking about it. That's like you stabbing me in the arm and determining where my blood can go, where I bleed. You can't stab me and be mad because I'm dripping blood everywhere. And he said, but I got cut too by that knife that I used to stab you. We're going to triage this situation. You're going to put your feelings to the side of how you're feeling, and you are going to go comfort the person that you hurt. That's what you have to do. Now, let me tell you something. The person who has been hurt does not get a hall pass, because I'm going to tell you what happens. You absolutely get two choices. The Bible will let you free. The government will let you free. You can say, okay, I'm out of here. But what you don't get to do is to stay and hold it over that person for the rest of their life. You have a responsibility to simultaneously work towards your healing process, which means that you will have to begin doing self-talk. You will have to maybe go and get some professional help and some therapy. You all might have to go to counseling, because this is what you're going to have to discover. A lot of times, the cheating does not start at the point of when that person got into bed with that person.
Right.
It started long before that.
Long before. Women can fake an orgasm, but a man can fake a whole relationship.
Well, women not only can fake a whole orgasm, but the issue that I deal with more often in a marriage relationship is they simply won't give you sex. And so that's still being unfaithful.
I'd rather you fake the orgasm.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
But my point was that capacity for inauthenticity is a part of how a lot of men and some women function in relationship. Just to get to the point that you were making, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the point that you were making is to realize that as people come back into trying to reconcile, right? One party has to reject the privileges of being a victim. The other party has to be willing to be patient and deal with the bleeding and the wreckage of what they've done.
Absolutely.
But both have to be there and be honest about what they're doing.
Both. They have to be honest with what's happening now, and they have to both be honest about what happened before. Because let me tell you something. A lot of times what happens is people don't realize that there are trauma issues related to infidelity. For instance, a person who has dealt with a childhood of neglect, what they will come to the conclusion of is that, hey, they learn that the world is not safe. I got to take care of myself. So what they end up doing, they start becoming independent. I'm going to take care of myself. I don't trust you to satisfy my needs. Even when you are trying, they won't receive it because they've been conditioned since childhood that people won't take care of me. So they can have a sense of entitlement if they don't go get healed. So when they're in a relationship, you will find them a little bit callous about the fact they cheated on you. Well, you didn't do this, and you were doing this, and you didn't do this. So I had to meet my own needs. And that's what you will find during neglect. So you got to deal with that issue of neglect. So they got to be healed from that childhood trauma of neglect, and then they have to move forward. It's not just about don't talk to that woman or take down your social media. That's not the cure.
How can people build trust? Are there things that people can do?
And part of that is the full disclosure. Part of that is if staying away from that person, whatever avenues that they have created, whether it's the DM, whether it's the social media, whether that kind of stuff. But you got to want to. And then you might have to do some counseling. You have to deal with your issues. But the basic thing is this. I know what I need to feel like I can trust you again. So it really will be on a case-by-case basis. I will say to some people, as we're about to enter into this full disclosure, do you want to see what's in that person's DM? Because some people want to know all about it, like what happened, what y'all do, blah, blah. Some people will say, yes, I want to see everything. Because the worst thing I can do is begin to rebuild and you haven't said everything. And then all of a sudden that house began to grow and we're building on that foundation and we tumble it all back down again. It's going to take that much longer to trust again. So I need you to disclose everything. I don't care if it's 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So tell it all. And some people will say, some women will say, or men will say, I don't want to know anything else. And I will say, okay, you got 3 days to clean up everything, every picture, every email, every DM. You got 3 days to clean up everything before you go into full disclosure.
See, every man watching is going, what? Everything?
And you know what? Before you lay down, think about that.
Yes.
The consequences.
Yes, that's right. It's just safer. It's cheaper and safer just to stay at home. Just
2 years later, like you gonna pay for this for 2 years?
Just have her dress up in some kind of costume or something and role play. It's just stay home, man. It's less stress. Listen, I'm gonna have to take a break because we got to pay the bills. But that's some great advice. That's some good advice. It's hard advice. But I think that's the point, that when you're trying to build a relationship back after betrayal and infidelity and cheating, and
it's not easy.
It's not easy. If you think it's going to be easy, you're kidding yourself. It is going to be one of the hardest things you ever do in your life. But it might not just save the relationship. It might save your life.
Yes.
How about that, doggone it? Don't mess with me. Dr. McPherson, Dr. Sean, we ain't playing tonight. Bring all your love problems on the show. We can take care of it. We'll be right back. I got to clean up my phone.
It's all of our responsibility to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. You can still use your outdoor spaces like yards and decks. It's also okay to go for a walk or exercise outside. Wear a cloth face covering, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, try not to touch any surfaces, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about love, and we know we all are loving somebody, even if it's ourselves or the dog or whatever it is. In my case, pizza. we all got something we love. And tonight, Dr. Love McPherson is really giving us great advice tonight. Absolutely first-class, stellar advice. You're clearly one of the best therapists and counselors that we've had on the show because your advice is so real and applicable. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
No. And I mean that. I'm from Brooklyn. If I didn't like you, I'd tell you. You'll never be back on this show. But no, you're great. So you just helped everybody who has to deal with infidelity and cheating. Some hard advice. That open disclosure. Woo. Mm-hmm. Now I want you to help people who are single mm-hmm. or who are in relationships but don't know how to let the wall down, don't know how to let people in. If you're single and you want to be in a relationship, but you don't know how to let people in, what do we do?
You know what? There's only 2 emotions, love and fear. Everything else is a variable of that. And what ends up happening is this. People will either fear love or they will decide to be engaged in love. What you're operating in is fear, but you can't have both at the same time. And that's a problem. So why you say, well, why do they fear? Fear comes from being wounded. Fear comes from being traumatized. Fear comes from other things like that, learning not to trust people. And so once again, we're back to, did you learn your fear from your past relationships, watching your parents and their home? Did you learn your fear from other relationships that were prior to this one? Or did you learn your fear while you were in this one? It can be 3 ways, and it can be all 3. And so what happens is when you're talking about fear, you begin to build walls. Why? To protect yourself, to protect your heart. Because this is what you have to do, Dr. Sean, in a relationship. You have to hand somebody the most fragile part of you, your heart, and say, here it is. Handle it with care.
Yeah.
Handle it with care.
Yeah.
That person could take that heart that is fragile and easily broken and easily hurt and easily neglected, throw it to the side. They could drop it. They could abandon it. And if you've experienced any of those, you know the pain. And again, the pain feels like hot coffee to your brain. It feels like hot coffee being poured on you. Now, here's the thing. That's when you begin to detach emotionally. And you began to say, nope, I'm not letting people back in. And this is the thing. You will begin to have surface relationships instead of going deep in commitment. Now, let me tell you, that's just one. It's just like past hurt. But some people, because of being detached at birth, they also don't have the ability to attach sufficiently. It's called the detachment theory. And so they have problems with bonding with people because they don't trust the world is safe. When you cry and your mother pick you up and she feeds you and take care of your needs, you learn the world is safe. But how they respond. We have a whole generation who came up with mothers who were on crack. They learned it's not safe. Parents who were preoccupied or whatever, they learned it was not safe. So they don't trust you. They will build a wall to guard their heart, and they will look over the top at you like this. Third one, a lot of times when you have been in the military, not all the time, this is not all the time, but you will find this. People who have been to war and things like that, or raised by fathers who have been to war, what you'll find is the military conditions you not to feel. You can't go into a war zone and blow up a whole community and then start feeling. So they will condition you, the mission, forget about what you feel, this. And so you will say, why is my husband so heartless? Why is he not emotionally connected to me? Why is my mother so cold? Whatever the case may be. So there are different scenarios that will bring about the wall. But now what you have to do is, once again, we go back into the trust that has to be created in order for you to learn to trust again, to see people a different way, because trauma distorts how you see people. Trauma distorts how you see yourself and how you see the world. So you have to deal with trauma. And how you deal with trauma is you have to do some self-talk. We have to challenge the things that you have told yourself. The world is not safe. Is the world always not safe? Do you feel safe here? Do you feel safe here? As you begin to challenge those things, trauma begins to subside.
What I've often said is that the first step toward being in any relationship of any significance with anybody is trusting yourself. It's not them you ultimately have to trust. You have to trust that you have made a decision to love them and that you've chosen someone who is worthy or workingly worthy of your love. And that if it doesn't work out, you can trust yourself to have a life after this is over. Hello.
That's actually what the Bible says when it says love trusteth all things. It didn't mean trusteth all things in all people. It means trusteth that you will recover. And if you see yourself as fragile and cannot recover from it, or you remember how you went into a depression, you may not trust that you can come back up out of this. You remember how that person, it don't have to be this dramatic. That person, you was in a relationship for like 2 months. It was going well and they went ghost. A ghost, I'm telling you, will take you back and set you back, and you will not trust yourself. What did I do? What did I do wrong? Instead of the character of the person, you will self-blame. because you trained yourself to do that.
And Dr. Love, hold on. That was your propensity before you met them. It was your propensity to assassinate and to attack yourself before you met them.
Absolutely.
They gave you an excuse to do it. But
that's right.
You said the powerful thing is that when people ghost or when people cheat or betrayal, instead of saying this, got to be something wrong with your tail.
Yeah,
to cheat on
absolutely.
This. Like to cheat on this, you got to be crazy.
Absolutely.
We say there's something wrong with this, and you were the one that we should have been chasing. The devil is a lie.
But don't we do that? If Father don't show up in our lives, subconsciously we begin to say, what was wrong with me that he wouldn't fight for me? If Mother is constantly critical of us, why is something wrong with me? We become conditioned to self-abuse and talk badly about ourselves. So what happens when we have that propensity already? We do not find ourselves, we don't hang ourselves on North Michigan Avenue. You know what I'm talking about, right? Or Rodeo Drive. We don't hang ourselves in that particular shop. We go to the thrift shop and hope somebody will come in there and take me back out.
Okay, stop right there because I got to take a break. But you just said something. Make my head go like that. Because there are a lot of people who hung themselves up in the thrift shop waiting for people with no money and bad credit and no teeth.
Absolutely.
To come and get them. But I came to tell you tonight, you need to be hanging up on Madison Avenue, Rodeo Drive, the Gold Coast, the Michigan Avenue. Find the best part of your city, and that's where you should be. That's where you should be advertising yourself because you are a royal priesthood.
Yes.
Holy nation. You are special.
Yes.
And you deserve the best that somebody can give you, and you deserve the best that you can get from yourself. I got to take a quick break, but we having a good time on this show tonight. If you don't feel good after this is over, cognac. We'll be back.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to frequently touch surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Let's just get right to the meat and talk about the buzz that's still surrounding the fight, you and Candace.
Cocktails with the queens.
Oh, yeah, girl, you gotta spill the tea.
Sip and serve.
The women know how nasty it is. You're trying to tear up a whole black family. All for what? For TV and for storyline. She said, what you gonna do? You're gonna drag me. And then it all went downhill from there.
Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
You just gave me what you was asking for then, huh, girl?
Happy Dance Friday. We're getting great advice from Dr. Love McPherson. So, Dr. Love, you said you wanted to jump in with the thrift shop metaphor. Go right ahead.
Yes. You know what I want to say about the thrift shop? It's one thing for you to hang yourself up into the thrift shop instead of the exclusive, downtown store. But the problem is the shoppers. That's right. The problem is the shoppers that come looking. When I go to the downtown. I'm living in Chicago. If I go downtown North Michigan Avenue, I'm bringing my credit card. I'm willing to invest. I'm expecting to pay a price. When I go to some of these places, they don't have a lot of garments. It just be a few pieces that are nice and exclusive that you pay a good price, but you ain't gonna see it everywhere. Now, that's a mindset. Like, I might have to invest in this one because this is a good piece. This is a good woman. This is a good man. So there's going to be an investment of my time professionally. I might have to go some counseling. I have to do some healing. Now, however, when you go to the thrift store, there's a mindset for that too. And I have been to the thrift store, and but when I come into the thrift store, let me tell you what I'm looking for. I am looking for somebody who marked that garment and didn't know how much it was worth. I'm looking for somebody who don't know their worth. And so I want to say, $5, but this brand is a Michigan Avenue brand, and I got it for this. People will come looking for you and use you because you don't know your worth. They see you, but trauma has distorted how you see yourself. So they will see your worth. They will know that you're a designer, but they will also just take advantage of you and spend the lease on you and invest the lease on you and take advantage of you simply because you have not healed and you don't know who you are.
How about that? So listen, give me real quick. Give me 30 seconds of this because I'm running out of time. I got 4 minutes left. Give me some red flags, right? Some flashing flags that say, no, 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 run, 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 go, go, go.
First one, if they say, I'm not interested in a real relationship and you are, turn around. Okay? Don't decide, I can convince them. Sex will make them sustain them. Will attract. No, listen to them, believe them, and don't go 90 miles per hour down a cul-de-sac. Okay? Turn around and go back out. All right? Have the courage to do that. But you got to believe that there's something else. Otherwise, you will stay with whatever you can. All right. The next thing is...
Oh, that's good.
The next thing is if you see them not pay attention where they're constantly making promises that they don't keep. If your goal is to leave a legacy and you're heading towards marriage and they are compulsive liars, how can you create a covenant with a liar? Okay? If they are serial cheaters, you're going to have to ask yourself, can my love cover this? But please, see what you see, believe what you believe, and don't sit there and think. If they're the most motivated they will be is when they're dating you. And marriage is when they relax. If they are too relaxed while they're dating you, it only goes down from there. Okay?
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Because that's just good, and people's brains can't process anymore. You've given us so much. So listen, let me go in the reverse because I try to be fair. Give me some things that people need to start celebrating about the one that they're with.
You need to. This is what you absolutely need to begin to celebrate the things that are meaningful, not just their car. Not just their bank account. You need to celebrate that they were there for you, that they're faithful. You need to celebrate that they call and check on you, that they're there to do the small things. Like if you had a child and they're there to help you raise that child. If they are there to help you take care of your elderly parents. If they are there to just say, I'm resisting the other women. I'm resisting the other men, and they are dedicated for you. If they are praying for you. My husband, before I came on, he made me a cup of coffee. Every morning, I wake up in the morning. My love language is acts of service. I wake up to a coffee by my bed and a bowl of fruit that he presents because he wakes up. I thank him every day because his love language is words of affirmation. So I give him that appreciation. Know the love language. Begin to appreciate whatever love language they are. Operate in that, feed them that, and continue. And remember, men love to be honored. Women love to be adored. Give them both.
Listen, Dr. Love McPherson, you're absolutely amazing. Great advice.
Thank you.
This show, you have to watch it again. And if you watch it by yourself, watch it with the person you're loving, raising, whatever the scenario may be, because this show is just packed with great advice and wonderful things to live by, to think about. And there's so many great conversation pieces in this. Dr. Love McPherson, you coming back.
Oh, great.
That was good.
There.
Listen, I got to say one quick thing just on a sad note. Everybody here at Foxhole and here at the Book of Sean, we're praying for my producer, Jocelyn Jackson's family, as they're going through a very difficult time, the death of a loved one, to the Jackson family, and particularly to Mother Jackson, Jocelyn's mom, who watches the show every night. I send my love and my prayers to you in this very difficult time. I know that you know that God knows everything. And when it's all over, you'll still be here. God will still be God, and life will find a way. So we're praying for you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be good to each other. Stick around for Claudia Jordan. And remember, most of all, people, I do love you.
Aww.